VFL Players Lounge. Happy game day, everybody. It's Tennessee. It's Vanderbilt. Tennessee trying to finish off the regular season. Can you believe it? The regular season is going to be over here at the end of tonight. It's just kind of wild to think about how fast the season goes. But Tennessee trying to get back off the mat and finish off the regular season the right way. Of course, after falling to South Carolina and Columbia 63-38 last Saturday. But a lot to play for. 10-win season. You've got, of course, a trip to a New Year's Six bowl game potentially on the line, likely on the line. And, of course, it's Vanderbilt. In-state foe, you always want to take down what Tennessee fans refer to as the little brother. So it's Tennessee and Vanderbilt. That's coming up tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time. It'll be on the SEC Network, and you can follow me and all of our Volquest staff at Volquest_on3. And check out the General's Quarters. We'll be in there hanging out all throughout the game. But this is the VFL Players Lounge, brought to you by the Volunteer Club. It's powered by Aspire Sports, where we talk to a pair of VFLs every single game day. And making his third appearance on the VFL Players Lounge here this week, Todd Kelly. What's up, brother?
Oh, nothing much. Just ready for a Vol win tonight. We need one.
No joke, man. Yeah, need to bounce back in a big way. So joining TK is a fellow defensive back, Malik Foreman. First time on the show. Malik, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you, TK.
Doing well. Appreciate you for joining us. So let's just, let's not bury the lead here. Malik, let's start with you. You're the new guy on the show. Tennessee, obviously, it wasn't a great day last week. Going down to Columbia, dropping an egg. We know what that means for playoff hopes and all that type of stuff. How do you respond? How do you get off the mat and come back and win a game that you're supposed to win, just like you were supposed to do last week?
Going against Vanderbilt, like you said, little brother, we just need to go in there and handle business. I think we don't need to put too much thought into last week. I think we just snap and clear. That's what we used to say when we were at Tennessee, snap and clear, move on to the next game. I think it's going to be more of a mentality and more of a character game for us, if anything. Going against the Vanderbilt team that's obviously feeling good about themselves, coming off two SEC wins. Not sure when the last time they did that. But just, I think we have to go in there and assert our dominance and assert the strength that we've shown all year.
TK, this week in practice, I'm sure it was very much a reality check, wake up, snap out of it. As a leader on a football team, on the practice field, in the locker room, kind of how would you have approached a week like this to where, man, you just dropped one last week that was horrible, but you still have another game. And in fact, this is the last game of the regular season. This might be the last game you play in, or this might be the last obviously until next regular season and a bowl game. How would you have approached this past week of practice? Well,
yeah, Eric, I think this is where your leaders step up. It shows the true character of the team. It's that snap and clear mentality that Malik talked about. And they've got to realize that Vanderbilt, even though they've won 2 games in a row, this is what they look forward to. This makes or breaks their season. And now that they're, if they win, they become bowl eligible, I believe, makes it even more of a mission for them to beat Tennessee. So I think it's the snap and clear. We have one more game left for, some people, this is their last regular season that they'll play in the orange and white. So I think it's realizing that we got to, put our mark down and make sure that we come out with the win.
You guys played a lot of big-time football games. Some mean more than others. Now, typically Vanderbilt's been down, but Vanderbilt is an in-state team. A lot of players from the mid-state area. That means a lot more for them. But Vanderbilt's a team you just don't want to lose to. Malik, what does the Vanderbilt game kind of mean to you back when you played and to you now?
So it's actually funny because I was committed to Vanderbilt before I decommitted and went to Tennessee, and I remember seeing a young Todd Kelly Jr. on his visit whenever he came. So the Vanderbilt game, for me, it's always been personal. Decommitting and then committing to, Tennessee, obviously, there was a little bit of tension between me and the coaching staff over there. So I've always wanted to kind of put my stamp, my foot on Vanderbilt every time I played. So it's the same mentality. Vanderbilt is a team where you've got a bunch of guys that think they could be at Tennessee or wish they were at Tennessee. So you have that little tension. So for me, it's always just been about putting the team that's in the mid-state, kind of keeping them there and making sure they know that we're the big brother, of course.
TK, East Tennessee, born and raised, right? I mean, you born here, raised here, went to school here, you reside here, you're an adult now. What does Vanderbilt mean to you whenever Tennessee plays Vanderbilt, whenever you play Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I saw Malik on my visit to Vanderbilt. He was a commit at the time. And just going on campus, I got the power tee on my chest. Oh, that's the wrong side. The power tee on my chest. And, they had the power tee upside down everywhere, man. So, they hate Tennessee. And Malik mentioned it, most of them don't get scholarship offers to UT. And it's in the past, we've beat down on them year after year. And, hopefully that's how it's going to be the next couple of years. And I think we lay it down with the foundation of, tonight's game, giving it to them, hitting them in the mouth for 60 minutes. I know that's what we wanted to do on a consistent basis. And I think everybody saw, Haddon out there talking last weekend. It's going to be a lot of chatter out there between, Vandy and Tennessee, just because those guys want to talk as much trash to Tennessee as they can. But I think if we just focus on the game, the task at hand, then, we'll get the job done.
In the spirit of Kamal Hadding talking so much trash, and it was literally every snap, especially in the fourth quarter, which one of you two was the bigger trash talker back when you played?
That's
a good question.
That's a great question. I've seen TK give some people the business sometimes out there. I've definitely seen it. Me, I can only speak for myself though. I was never a big trash talker. I just say little things here and there. So I'll probably have to give it to TK, whichever way I'm.
You wear that, TK? Is that you?
Man, I had to hold it down in the back end. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I used to even have to hop in there for my boys. Just because one team, one unit kind of thing. So I talked here and there. We used to have fun in practice too. So that's probably what Malik is talking about. But, yeah, man, I did my talking here and there, but you got to make the plays too.
Yeah, you got to make the plays, and Tennessee's going to be trying to make some plays tonight against Vanderbilt. You guys mentioned, or Malik, you mentioned a moment ago, Vanderbilt. It's reeling with confidence right now, and it should. I mean, is Kentucky and Florida, good this year? They're not great, but those are. I don't remember the lines, but I would assume that Vanderbilt was probably a, double, point dog in that game. But took down Kentucky, went out way ahead of Florida, and held on for that win. How is it? This is going to be Vanderbilt's Super Bowl. It's going to be senior day. They are fighting for bowl eligibility. How do you kind of channel all that and really just kind of block it all out and go and play your brand of football?
Yeah. So Vanderbilt coming off those two wins is huge for them. It's a great confidence booster. And if I were in the locker room gearing up to play those guys, I think the main thing I'd be focused on is just myself and what I need to do. If everybody's doing their job for 60 minutes, we handle this team like we've handled the teams in the past. That's not to say that they're not a good team, that we don't respect them at all. I feel like we have to, strap up a little bit tighter with them just in terms of them having more confidence being at home. But overall, we go in there and play 60 minutes of our football. They can't beat us. I don't care who's taking snaps. I don't care who's running the ball, who's catching the ball. If Tennessee plays Tennessee brand football and goes in there and kicks little brother in the mouth like we always do, we'll come out with the win, no question.
You guys think it's going to be more orange than black and gold or whatever today?
Man, I was looking forward to that checker. What's their stadium called? I don't even know. I don't think anybody knows.
It should be Commodore Stadium, I think.
It should be called Neyland because he had that thing packed out most of the time. But
Neyland Jr.
Yeah, it's going to be orange in there, and there's a lot of fans that represent in Nashville as well. Mm-hmm. But Vandy's going to come. Vandy's ready. No question about it. I think them seeing us take a L last weekend probably inspired them some more. Mm-hmm. So it's, they're not just gonna hand it to us. And so that's one thing that I think the team has to realize, especially after coming off a loss, because we kind of played like South Carolina was going to hand it to us, which they didn't. They hit us in the mouth. So it's about going out and taking what's yours and not worrying about a spread, not worrying about how many points you score, but winning the ball game.
Malik, how do you defend a dual threat quarterback in terms of, they can do a little bit of everything? Last week at South Carolina, you had Spencer Rattler, who was playing out of his mind. You know, I mean, Tennessee gave him a few things, but I mean, he was fitting balls into tight windows, throwing on the run. I mean, that was a Spencer Rattler that we saw at Oklahoma, you know, back in 2020, to be completely honest. But this weekend, Mike Wright, I mean, he's not that type of quarterback, but he's a dual threat, can run some RPOs. You know, you're not going to, I brought up Spencer Rattler. They played their offense, but then they would take him out and they run the Wildcat, bring in Joyner and run the Wildcat a little bit. With a guy like Mike Wright, he can do a little bit of everything. They won't have to do that. What's the challenge in defending a quarterback like that, where he can always run? The option's going to be in play a little bit, and a guy that can make you pay if you're being lazy or give up your gap integrity.
Yeah, I would say, you know, when you're dealing with dual threat quarterbacks, especially like Wright, you have to make him be a quarterback. I think the test is really going to be in our D line, our linebackers, to shut the run down and really put pressure on him in those situations. And when our defense locks up in the back end, make sure we get home. Spencer got away with a couple on us, and I think that if we just got home a little bit sooner, we would have easily executed on those plays and got him on the ground. But, you know, our brand of football is get to the quarterback, lock up in the back end, and I feel like if we make Wright be a quarterback and not let him get, you know, third down scurries and get the first downs that we were letting Spencer and South Carolina get, then we shut that down. Third down stops are going to be critical, and then just stopping the run in general.
Saw like a couple of weeks ago with Missouri, they started kind of stretching Tennessee's defense with the lateral run game, the jet sweeps and the motions and all that. And, you know, that was a point of emphasis for South Carolina as well. And I saw Wesley Walker on several occasions come down, attack the blocker the right way, maintain outside leverage, and then force it back inside. But unfortunately, there wouldn't be a linebacker. There wouldn't be a safety. No one's coming over to make that tackle. How important in a lateral running game kind of like that, when it's forced inside? I mean, how important, TK, is your backside safety and linebackers to be over there and to play a big part of stopping that run game? Because that was something that Tennessee kind of lacked last week.
Well, it's huge. Gap integrity is everything. And I think, you know, you need to be in your gap and stay in your gap. I think the game has evolved where you've got these athletes that are coming, you know, running reverses and getting tosses and cutting it up. And I mean, you think of all the greats, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, you know, the plays they would make was because you're not, you know, in your gap and you don't have the integrity, and they bounce back, cut back, and they're gone for 80. And I think that a lot of times if you're caught out of your gap, these teams are so good now and coached up to know where you're supposed to be, and if you're not there, to hit that hole. So I think it's all about holding each other accountable. And like Malik said, doing your job. I think if everybody on the defense does their job and doesn't worry about making up for somebody else that isn't in their gap, that's the key, is to know where you're going to be, know where your teammates are going to be, and do your job.
Malik, when you look at this season kind of, you know, from a bigger perspective and look at some of the options in the defensive backfield, it's not been great at points and times this season, but it has in other points and times. I mean, LSU was a great defensive effort. Kentucky was a great defensive effort. I'm thinking of games that matter, of course, the Akrons and the Ball States and all that. But it's been kind of a rotating door at cornerback because of injuries and stuff like that. What have you seen from that group, or maybe in a younger guy like a Danico Slaughter, maybe a Christian Charles, or a newcomer last year, Brandon Turnage, that you kind of like about their game, and what can they do, I guess, as a group to, you know, because all those guys are returning. What can they maybe do to take that next step for next year and to be even better after all this experience?
You know, collectively as a defensive back group, I'm proud of those guys. I mean, every game that I watched, they were fighting hard, swarming to the ball, making plays in the back end. When you're playing defensive back, you're gonna get got. You know, there's gonna be times where you're gonna give up a catch, you're gonna give a big play. But I feel like our guys have really taken it personal to stop the guys that's in front of them, you know, and playing together. You know, if everybody's talking, communicating on the same page, everybody's believing in each other, believing that they're going to be covering their assignment. If the safeties aren't worried about the corners doing what they're supposed to do, everybody's doing their job. I feel like we have a great defensive back end, you know, for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I've seen so many plays made, so many picks that I wish we would have been able to do, you know, plays that I wish we were able to make whenever we were there, TK. Those guys have been playing, you know, lights out football. And, you know, sometimes you'll give a big play, but I feel like I'm more proud of those guys just playing together and believing in each other. You can see it in the energy, you can see it in the passion, the excitement, just how they are engaged with each other, how they're always picking each other up. If there's a bad play, patting each other on the back. If there's a good play, that group is as solid as anybody. And they've got a good leader in Willie Martinez. He was our defensive backs coach. He whenever me and TK were there, and he's got those guys ready to play every week. And despite what happened last week, I feel like they are more than capable of shutting Vanderbilt down and doing that for Tennessee for the next 3 or 4 years.
It just dawned on me, TK. I never even asked you earlier this season about Willie. Tell me some, maybe not stories, but tell me about Willie Martinez. Yeah, that's exactly right. He coached you or both of you guys when he was here. Now he's back. How is Willie Martinez the coach?
Yeah, he's awesome. There's a reason why he's back. He's been around for forever. He actually was at Auburn when I was getting recruited and ended up coming to UT, staying home, and heard that he was going to be the defensive backs coach. So it's crazy how life works. Obviously, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and that worked out. But, yeah, now that he's back, you think about all the guys that really coached, the Cam Suttons, the Emmanuel Mosleys, the Rashawn Galdens, playmakers, right? And there's a reason that, you said all these guys are coming back. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to grow and get better because this defensive backfield, they can only get better. They can only improve. I will admit we could be better this year when it comes to making plays from a cornerback perspective. But, when Malik and I were there, we had some pretty good pass rushers. If I can remember correctly, we had a first-round draft pick. And so that helps. So maybe if they can take their D-line out to dinner or something, that would probably help out. But it's a collaborative effort, and these guys give their all. And, I hear comments about people getting beat or us giving up this many touchdowns. Playing cornerback is not easy, being on an island. Neither is safety, trying to fill gaps, be in the run game, also be over the top. And, I think for the most part, we've got to realize we have the number 9 ranked team in the country, and we have the capability to win 10 games this season. And that's because of our defense as well, and because of our defensive backfield. So Willie's great. He's awesome. He always brings the energy, man. And, that's why Malik's smiling, because we definitely have a good one. We have a great staff. I think Heupel's put together an awesome staff. And, I think it's going to show tonight.
Yeah, I was saying earlier in the week, obviously what happened last week, that sucks. It was awful. That's football sometimes, right? It sucks because the stakes where they were with the college football playoffs and all that. So I understand all that. But in retrospect, playing cornerback in that football game, it's like you just need one stop or whatever. So you guys have both kind of alluded to it. Malik, when you get beat out there on an island, or when you give up a big play or miss a tackle or whatever, I feel like cornerback is much like quarterback in terms of, man, you've got to have a short-term memory. What's that like, just trying to get back up and go play again? Because I think the most important position in all the sports is quarterback. I think the hardest position in all the sports is cornerback, and I feel like you guys would probably back me up on that.
Yeah, most definitely. Cornerback and then quarterback are probably the two hardest positions on the field. Just from what you said, it's a lot on the mental and it's a lot on the physical. You're playing backwards the entire game. You're on every special teams that's playing. So you're having to rotate through that, and you're just having to keep your mental, focused. You're going to get beat, you're going to miss a tackle, you're going to make a bad play. But I think that, the mindset of snapping clear, what we talked about earlier, snapping clear onto the next play is key, because a guy could get toasted all game and then have the game-winning pick, take it to the house or end the game, and he's the hero. And the quarterback could go 0 for whatever and then throw the game-winning touchdown pass, and he's a hero. So it's all about mentality, and it goes across all the positions: D-line, receiver, running back. I just think that cornerback and quarterback are the two most highlighted. You're on stage, people are going to see you for who you truly are, and they're going to see like that person made that throw or that person gave up that catch. So taking that personal, having that personal mindset of, if I get beat, I'll just make up for it on the next play, and that's why everybody can't be a quarterback in the SEC. Also, everybody can't be a corner in the SEC or in the NFL for that matter. It's hard. It's tough. So the mentality that comes along with the physical demand is really what's going to keep those guys, driven.
TK, tell me this. Help me out here. I'm sure at some point in time you played cornerback, but you never played corner at Tennessee. You're primarily just nickelback and safety, correct?
Yeah, Nick Saban told me he wanted me to play corner, but not here at Tennessee.
So versatility is virtue. It's great to have. Like Danico Slaughter, he is not a cornerback. He's playing cornerback right now. I think he's played at pretty high level points and times this season, but he's a safety. He even said, he had those plays against Kentucky where he hit the guy and it popped loose, led to a pick. He had an interception. He's like, yeah, I like playing inside the box. I like to hit people, which is just hilarious because it was his first start and he made some plays. But anyway, are there some guys that strictly just can't play corner, like they're just an in the box safety, or if press into action, they could probably be out there, just wouldn't be as fluid? I guess what I'm trying to say is, are there some defensive backs that just can't play corner because of that unique skill set?
Yeah, absolutely. Malik mentioned it. I think from a physical standpoint, you got to be fluid in the hips. You got to have speed. You got to be physical. You have to have all those attributes. And, I don't think every defensive back that we have should play cornerback. I don't really know where they would do that at any university, but I think, me playing safety, for example, once I was equipped as a safety, I'll look at them crazy if they tried to put me out there and, guard a Mark Cooper one-on-one on an island. But you let Malik do that. So, I think that it's important I think the more things you can do, the better you'll be as a defensive back, whether it's that star position or fulfilling that safety role or going out there and being able to go on an island. It definitely takes a special person. And I think we do have some folks that can do that. But no, I like being a safety and filling those gaps like Nico. I like coming downhill.
Yeah, it's like some offensive linemen, it's great. Because especially in the NFL, like an offensive lineman, if you're the sixth offensive lineman, you're pretty much playing everything. But there are some guys that, simply just like Gerald Mincey, for example. I'm sure he could play right side, but like he's a left side of the guy line tackle, And so I wanted to ask. I thought that was kind of interesting there. All right, we got a lot more to come up. We got about 15 more minutes or so. Tennessee at Vanderbilt coming up later. VFL's Todd Kelly Jr., Malik Foreman. They're going to join me here on the other side. But quickly, I want to give a special shout out to who makes this podcast possible, this Game Day VFL Players Lounge podcast possible. And that is our good friends over at the Volunteer Club and Spire Sports.
The game has changed and Spire Sports is here. With name, image, and likeness arriving, your Orange fandom can now be put into action. Visit thevolunteerclub.com and become a member. 90% of every dollar generated through the Volunteer Club, powered by Spire, will go directly to athletes to improve the student-athlete experience at Tennessee. It's not just about winning the next game. It's about next season. It's about the next generation. It's about the Tennessee legacy. Join at thevolunteerclub.com. That's thevolunteerclub.com.
Welcome back into the VFL Players Lounge. I am Eric Cain, as you watch at Volquest.com and, of course, on the Volquest YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way, more and more people can see this video before game time. This is the VFL Players Lounge, brought to you by the Volunteer Club and powered by Spire Sports. Got VFL's Todd Kelly Jr. and Malik Foreman on. All right, so Tennessee lost last week, and more than that, you lost your quarterback, and it's just such a devastating blow. It's the perfect example of how sports can be just so cruel, right? As soon as you saw him go down, you knew exactly what it was. Those non-contacts. You've been around the game long enough, you knew what it was, and it's just so unfortunate. Malik, for Hendon Hooker, man, what type of legacy does he leave here at Tennessee? He's been here such a short time, but man, it's been good.
It's been great. Hendon's had a great career, short, but, amazing, legendary career. Took us to a point where a lot of Vol fans, Vol Nation did not think we would be for a while. And just to see the leadership and how the guys kind of followed him behind him and took on his same kind of cool, calm, collected mentality, it just speaks for itself. It's funny because his dad was playing at North Carolina A&T when my parents were there. So they remembered him, and it's just been cool to see, him leave his mark, leave his legacy on Tennessee. With him being there for a short period of time, just the impact from beating Bama, being a Heisman favorite. It goes beyond the game of football when you talk about Hendon Hooker and the legacy that he leaves on Tennessee, because you can see the way he talks, the way he carried himself, some of the stuff that he was intertwined with outside of football. He's just a good human being. He's a good guy. And anybody that in that locker room behind him should take on that same mentality, and they did, and that's why we've been able to have the season that we've had. So hats off to Hendon. It sucks because football it's part of the game. You could be the same way. You could be going having a bad year, and then something happened and you're the hero. You could have an amazing year and something like that happens, and now you're sitting on the sideline watching your boys play. But I feel like Hendon's a guy that will be able to bounce back from this. He's got the strong mentality that you want to see out of a young kid, and I think the sky's the limit for him in his future.
Yeah, I would agree. I think so too, man. He'll have an NFL future. He'll make plans to repair that knee and then get back into rehab. And I don't know what the draft will look like for him now, but he'll be in a camp one day or be signed. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what he makes of it. But TK, it's a guy that does children's books, and his story before he got to Tennessee. Also, I'm not going to go into it, but it's really, really unique. I mean, he's been through so much. Came to Tennessee when Jeremy Pruitt brought him. He gets ousted, all that's going on, and you're just sitting here. Josh Heupel comes in. He watches him and the other quarterbacks practice 15 times, gets Joe Milton. Joe Milton's your starter. He goes down, goes in, and then the rest is kind of history. It helps speed up the program and a new coaching hire if you have a quarterback. And Tennessee had that in Hendon Hooker. It sucks so bad that he goes down and gets hurt like that. But man, I feel like because of what Malik said, beating Florida, beating Alabama, because of what he did in such a short amount of time, that's a name that's, no Vol fan will probably ever forget.
No. And my son, he's 7 months. So that's the first quarterback that he's ever seen at UT. So the expectations are doggone high. I think everything he's done for the program, solidifying us as the number one team in the country. I know there's some streets along the university that already have names, but I think he deserves one of them, just because you think about what he did for this program. And I'm not always the biggest fan of the transfer portal, but just to have this guy, he comes in from Virginia Tech and just embraces the Tennessee tradition, understands what it means to be QB1 for the Volunteers, takes on the role of being a leader and setting the tone for what this team is all about, carrying himself off the field in the right manner. The list goes on, and just to see him go down like that, it hurt my heart. And, I had a bad knee injury that ended up taking me out of the game. So if anybody understands, I get it. But I think that, going forward, just for Vol Nation to continue to support him, continue to do anything possible just to make sure that he truly understands how much he meant to the program. I think it's crazy how the world aligns, because him and Joe Milton had a really, really cool relationship, and to see Joe give him a hug while he was walking off the field, that's just so powerful. And that just shows you what it means to be a teammate, a friend, a brother, and to see him kind of pick up where he left off and have an opportunity tonight is very special.
Dude, that picture, I'm going to find it here in a moment. I'm going to flash it up on the screen. Oh my gosh. I know exactly what picture you're talking about. And
Powerful.
Man, I mean, powerful, man. It'll make a grown man cry. Like, goodness gracious. And it's so unique. I mean, this story's been talked and written about. And I mean, it's been 2 years now, but again, you go out and get Joe Milton to be your quarterback. He comes in, he starts the first couple games of the year. He goes down, those guys become friends. They're roommates. They coach up one another. I mean, they're brothers, and man, that's, it's quite a story in itself. And he's the first one there to greet him and hug him when he comes off the field. Now it's Joe Milton time. Just one game left in the regular season. There'll be a bowl game as well. Malik, what do you like about Joe Milton? Could this offense look any different with Joe Milton? What are your expectations for Big Joe here on Saturday?
I've always been a big fan of Joe. And I think, for him going into this last game of the season and then the bowl game, obviously, he just has to go out and play good football. He doesn't have to go out and be Superman, We have a great team. We have a great offense. He's got a great arm. The main thing I want to see from him is just composure and for him to show people that he can be, that NFL caliber quarterback that people believe that he is. The arm strength is there. I just think if he can make some better decisions with the ball and put the ball on the money more, then he'll be awesome. I'm sure they'll run him a few times. I'd like to see him run the ball here and there, or maybe on some scheduled runs. I think he's a great ball carrier. But also, I want to see him throw the deep ball. I want to see him throw the deep ball. I want to see him hit it on the money like he did in the previous games whenever he's been in there. And the biggest thing for me with Joe is just how humble and supportive he's been with Hendon and the whole situation. When you're a backup quarterback, you've always got that itch to be out there. You want to be the guy. But he's really showed some maturity and just, being a good number 2 and supporting Hendon. And I think that, the stage has been set for him to go out there and show the world that he can play as well.
All right. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm doing this in real time. I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm going to try to put a picture up here. And it looks awful in terms of it's not to frame, but look at that picture, man. Look at his face. Golly, man. You can just see the hurt in Joe Milton's eyes there as he's hugging Hendon Hooker coming off the field last week. So, powerful stuff. But yeah, it's Joe time. Joe Milton, Tennessee at Vanderbilt coming up later today. It's kind of weird, man, too. You're down to one scholarship quarterback, which is not great because, of course, Hendon's down. Taven Jackson has a broken collarbone. You have 2 guys that are there every day, walk-ons, and Navy Schuler and Gaston Moore, who can come in and play if needed, but might want to be protective a little bit. But then in the end, you got to win this football game. You got to burn the ships as well. So I think Joe Milton will come in and kind of run this offense. All right, got a couple minutes left here. TK, I've asked you this before, and please add to the conversation, but I do want to direct this to Malik. Man, as a VFL, watching over the last couple of years, it's not been great. How much pride do you have in your program right now with where Tennessee is in year 2? I know last week sucked, but number 1 in the college football playoff rankings a couple weeks ago, number 1 in the country, still top 10, 9-2 right now, a chance to win 10 games in the regular season for the first time since 2003. How are you liking what you've seen so far this year in Tennessee football?
Man, I've loved every second of it. To see the guys bounce back from the past that we've, come off from has been amazing. Just the season, all of the wins against Florida, the win against Bama. I was there, the win against LSU at LSU, just kind of blowing them out the water in their home stadium. It's just been so awesome to see those guys play good football just after the past that we've had. And I think that, the momentum and the energy is only going to carry on from here. I've been very proud, as a former VFL, as a former guy that loves Tennessee, from Tennessee, to see those guys really go out there and give their all for their state and for their team. And it's just been amazing. I'm hopeful that we'll continue this success, but who would have thought we'd be here, when the beginning of the season started. I forget his name, but somebody had us going 10-2 on sports on the SEC network beginning of the season. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it was him. And everybody in my office was like, "You think we can really do that? You think we can really do that?" And I was like, "Of course we can." We've always had the talent, we've always had the ability, but to see us really, hone in on who we actually are and go out there and get those wins and have the season that we have, I've just been proud of those guys. It's been awesome to see.
TK, you want to add anything to that, man? I know I've asked you this before, but I mean, again, there's been more wins and more big moments since last we spoke on this. I mean, the progress that Tennessee's made in year 2 with Josh Heupel, it's been pretty incredible.
It's been unreal. Just the fact that we're upset that we're not making the college football playoff, right?
Yeah.
As the majority of your Tennessee fans, I mean, they'll look at you like you're nuts. And those same fans are, upset because we're not going to the college football playoff in Heupel's second year as a head coach. So I think that's one thing I love about Vol Nation is, we want to be on top. And a lot of those fans realize that we've been on top before and that we're back. I think Jalen Hyatt, after the Alabama game, when he was getting interviewed around all those fans that rushed the field, I mean, he said, Vols are back. Vols are back. And that really hit home for me just because, like Malik, I grew up here as a Vol fan and had the opportunity to play for the University of Tennessee. And now I'm on the other side again as a UT fan. And all I can say is, wow, we're still a top 10 team, dominating for the most part in the SEC other than last weekend. And, I think just the pride as a former player and having an understanding that, we're in the talks of being the best team in the country and are bringing in the athletes that we need to bring in to be the best team in the country. Mm-hmm. That's what it takes. And that's what I love. So I've got this on my chest for a reason. And, I'm super excited where this program's headed and where we're going.
All right. We've reached the end of the podcast. Going to do two things we do every single week. I want a bold prediction on today's game. Tennessee Vanderbilt coming up tonight at 7:30 on the SEC Network. So your bold prediction, Malik, can be whatever you want it to be. It can be 5 touchdown passes from Joe Milton. It can be 2 picks from Trayvon Flowers, whatever you want it to be. So I want a bold prediction and a score prediction as well. We'll start off with TK. We'll give you time to think about it, Malik.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I'm going to ride with my boy Joe just because it's his time to shine. And what better moment after the loss last weekend to step up, kind of show that, hey, I've been here and waited on this opportunity. So I think he's going to do well. I think he'll throw and run for a total of 4 touchdowns. 4 total touchdowns for Joe Milton. And then my score prediction, which obviously has to add up to those 4 touchdowns and then some, I've got UT 45, Vanderbilt 17.
All right, Tennessee 45, Vanderbilt 17. 4 touchdowns from Joe Milton. Malik, what do you got?
I'm gonna go a little bolder. I've got Joe throwing for 5 touchdowns. I think he slings that thing. I think he throws 2 bombs that are just the best balls we've ever seen, in the history of Tennessee. And then he's got some, some other passes as well. But yeah, 5 touchdowns for Joe, throwing in the air. And I've got to be real, man. I've got us going 42-3. 42-3 against those boys. We beat the brakes off of them. We put them in their place as the little brother that they've always been and that they always will be. So that's my prediction.
Eric, I thought you were going to say a good bold predictor, man.
I thought you were going to say 42-30 or something. I mean, 42-3. Wow. But hey, it's possible. And on that note, for Joe and 5 touchdowns, Vanderbilt, it's improved in year 2. It's improved a little bit offensively. Defensively, it has not. They're allowing 303 yards passing a game. And so, hey, there'll be some opportunities there for Tennessee and some opportunities there for Joe Milton. Guys, appreciate it. Hey, it's been a whole lot of fun. 40 minutes flies by, Malik. Good meeting you. Good talking with you, man. And please come back. TK, as always, man, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Malik Foreman and Todd Kelly Jr., VFL, is right here on the VFL Players Lounge. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in this season. Every single game day right here on Volquest.com and the Volquest YouTube channel. We'll be back for the bowl game, don't worry, but it's been a whole lot of fun. Nice little project here. The VFL Players Lounge presented by the Volunteer Club and powered by Spire Sports. It's Tennessee and Vanderbilt coming up tonight, 7:30 on the SEC Network. Volquest_on3, the General's Quarters, and @_Cainer. We've got you dialed up and ready to roll all night long for continual coverage. Check out Volquest.com, and we'll see what Tennessee's got in store tonight for the regular season finale in Nashville. Tennessee and Vanderbilt coming up tonight, 7:30. Enjoy your game day, everybody.